together, perhaps consider each other especially attractive, perhaps are at the same bar when it's closing,
Yeah, every
what
Japanese
have
prostitute
you.
I've ever hired. We call it an illegal thing.
Well, no, but you're saying hired.
No, I mean fell in love with.
Do you hire your husband?
Well, MJP, I no longer have a husband, and there's a really good well, okay. I never had a husband. I never
Okay.
had a husband. I had a
Do
guy.
you hire your
I had
breezies?
a guy that I was temporarily legally married
Do you
to,
hire your
and I
situationship?
regretted it before I did it.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna finish eating my pizza while you guys duke it out, and then I'll give you the answer. Because this is entertaining to me.
Right.
Isn't it?
No, and I am very interested because like MJP does not usually like put himself forward to be asking the questions. I want to answer the questions. Keep bringing them.
Okay.
When I was legally entangled with that particular person, wow. All right.
Yeah, it's a conundrum, isn't it?
Well, no, because here's the situation. Not all the sex with that particular guy was consensual.
Okay, yeah, it's fairly common.
Right.
That's terrible, but common
Well,
apparently.
no,
Question mark?
it was fucking terrible, but here's the
Marital
thing.
grapes.
It took me like 15 years to like be able to sort that shit out in my head and be like, "Oh shit, that's what it was."
Yeah.
Because you're socialized to accept like
Yeah, that's a normal thing. Don't worry. Everyone feels that way.
So would you say the only difference is the legality?
No. Because I mean, well, the state that I lived in at the time, I think marital rape would actually be a crime if I'd chosen to report that. No. But the thing is, when we're going to sex work versus just sex, I wasn't doing sex work when I was unfortunately legally attached to that guy, or even before when we were just dating. Like
Because you weren't being paid?
Well, I mean, if we if we want to get technical about it and look the ledger up, I was paying. I was the one paying. Unfortunately. But that being said, like it wasn't our relations were not of a transactional nature. Except here's the thing. Except here's the thing. As time went on, I began to understand that he did view them in that way. Like I have a very clear memory one day of me telling him, "Yo, I don't appreciate the way that you talk to me like I'm some kind of employee." And he's like, "Well, it's the same difference." Right. So, I mean, if we want to come down to it, like, when we talk about like, coercion and bad juju and stuff, I can look at that relationship as like a model of what not to do. That being said, there was never a quid pro quo for me in monetary terms when it came to like the provision of sexual services.
So it's the unspoken nature. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I'm saying like that, as terrible and fucked up as that all was, to be very honest, it's like I've been out of it a long time, but like I'm not in the headspace to like totally dissect it. But I don't blame that situation on capitalism.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
Other relationships.
You think capital doesn't affect how all of that goes on? How all of that transpires?
Well, no, I'm not. Well, no, I'm not saying that. I think the marriage, the concept of marriage as we experience it here in our time, I think that is intimately tied to capitalism. As I unfortunately found out when like I was legally married, but I had run away from home and I was trying to file taxes, and they're like, "Oh, you're married. Oh, well then, are you filing with the person that you're married to?" And it's like, "Yeah, no, I don't talk to that bitch." And they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. All of the benefits that you may have gained, you're gonna lose them. Oh, and by the way, all the shit that you were used to as a single person, you don't get that anymore either. So you owe us money."
Pretty raw deal.
Yeah, very raw deal.
They did the capitalism.
Yeah, he did. Oh, and but he did
So
it.
I don't
He did
understand
it.
what
He did it
exactly.
in service of America, MJP.
Okay, so I don't exactly understand your question about sex work.
Well, that had nothing to do with marriage. This was just like a random aside.
Okay.
You were the
Okay.
one that wanted to drill down, like,
Yeah, because I want to know where you're coming from. Why you see, why you don't consider that like all the relationships that we have are coerced to some extent by capital, but then also the
because I
very.
choose to believe
Mhm.
that there are human relationships that are real and meaningful, that I mean, we cannot divorce ourselves from capital in the system we live in, correct? Like there's always going to be shit. Like I need to pay rent, you need to pay rent. Like if we're going out, who's paying for shit? Does that need to be a big fucking deal? And like, can we both afford it? Like if we're going someplace, like capital interferes with the relationship. But I still have a deeply held belief that you can have meaningful relationships with other human beings that aren't based on monetary transactions. How much I spend. Let's take you, MJP.
Okay.
Like, I think you're an amazing artist.
Thank you.
I think you're funny.
Thank you again. I'll take all the compliments you got.
Right. Like, no, like you
I'll take all of
think
them. I'll take the whole box.
you think about shit, which is unusual for most humans if you haven't realized. Like I feel like you kind of like to sit back in the cut, but then like if there's something that really, if it gets like a special itchy part of your brain, you're like, "Well, wait, let's talk about that." Like you did with this conversation. Like that is the shit that I love about you.
Well, thank you.
I am so happy that I blundered into this situation where I get to spend time with you guys and talk about shit.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
So I enjoy you as a human. We agreed on that?
Mhm.
Am I trying to make money off of you?
I don't know. Are you?
No.
I mean, with this show as anybody.
Like,
To be fair.
I mean, and not for
We're
nothing.
doing a
Like, if you were
terrible
like,
job of it.
Yeah, really.
and not for nothing. Like, if tomorrow you were going to turn around and be like, hey, yo,
So are you?
you know what? I'm
So
independently wealthy.
So you're.
If you want to be friends with me, like I'm just gonna kick you a couple mil a year. Like, I got a lawyer and an accountant that can figure out how to make it cash, like, tax free. It's in the fucking Caymans. Like, if you
That would be
offered that
base.
to me, am I gonna say no? No, I'm gonna take it. But here's the thing. I don't care if all you got to offer me is a dirty diaper. I like you. And I'm
like
going
you.
to choose to
I
spend
want you.
time with you.
Sorry.
But you know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
Like, I'm gonna make
Yeah,
choices.
yeah. So are you saying so
Our
so you're
I
saying
don't
it's
believe
because
that our
about-
relationship is transactional. Can we agree on that?
no.
Really?
I think there's other types of transactions involved. Other types of currency. Social currency, knowledge
Mhm.
currency.
Oh, we're getting deep then.
Yeah.
Okay, but then okay, so
I believe that
if we're gonna dig
I believe
down
that we
layers,
understand that there's a fair transaction going on, but it's not a monetary one.
right? So well, anytime you have a social relationship,
So wouldn't the sex
but
worker
like
wouldn't the
what?
problem with
Okay,
the sex worker be that they're skipping to the end?
hold on a second.
Okay.
Let's see if we can come to an agreement on a basic fact. Like that, not a fact, but like something that we both agree on. Our relationship is not based on capital transaction.
And what about the capital transaction? What quality of it? Would it be the exploitation?
No, I'm just saying it's not founded on that. I don't think. Do you think?
Right. I'm asking what specifically is it not being found? What is it not lacking? Would that be the exploitation?
Oh, you're wait.
I don't
That
know.
would
I think
make
you
it a
guys are thinking
capital.
about this way too hard.
I'm so confused about the question.
I'm at okay, never mind. Maybe I'm just losing you guys. It's cool.
I know where you're going with this. I think you're just thinking way too hard.
Help us out, Dan.
Okay.
I've been waiting for an opportunity. I've been letting women speak. Women of black people speak. That's what I've been doing.
But I need to.
I would like it recorded that tonight I
mean, let's be honest here. He sees us doing the work, and he's like, "Yeah, do the work."
Sometimes I need to shut the fuck up and listen to the men talk.
Yeah, sometimes you have to listen to men's voices. Is all I'm saying. It goes both ways. Like
Getting ready to do so in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, let's start with the question. Like, let's start with the basic question: is sex work?
Yes.
Is if I said I was doing landscaping work, what would I be doing? I'd be working, right? You wouldn't have any problem reconciling that in your head. Just because
you're out there planting shrubs.
That's right. I'm checking the grass on the field if we want to stick in this wheelhouse.
Gross.
I know. Very disgusting. But I went
Looping the pumps.
and now we all have to live with it because I did it.
That's shining the pole.
If you were reading your theory,
damn it, Daniel.
Landscaper stuff.
Anywho, if I said I was going to go do my lawyer work today, you would understand intrinsically I'm going to work. If I said I was going to the factory and I said I'm going to work, where do you work? At factory. Nobody would bat an eye. But because people have an idea in their head that sex is something magical and sacred, people don't associate sex with work. Okay, so then it's just work.
I do.
It's just work. That's it. That's all it is. It's work. If it is on the market If it is the exchange of values, in this case, a quantity of sex for a quantity of money or other goods, it's just work. That's all it is.
You walk up to the counter, bam, give me 1 sex, please.
Yes,
God, I wish.
that's all it is.
I will accept 1 sex, please.
I will trade you this quantity of money for 1 unit of sex.
Best I could do is
How
0.5.
would you like your paycheck distributed? How many sexes can I get for that?
Put it
please?
in
2
all
Asian
these.
women. That's how. That's how I want my paychecks distributed, but they never do it. Not to own, just to rent. That's what sex word is. It's a form of rent on sex, right? You take the market, you add rent to sex,
You take
you got
the
sex
good,
work.
you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have.
The facts of life. Now, in that context, you have different qualitative sexual actions, right? You have purely exploitative sex. You have rape. It's purely exploitative. There's no getting around it. Okay. And we code that as bad because, at least in my opinion, we should have a set of morals that says it's bad. I know I live in America, so that's a pretty hot take. But
Pretty
Whoa,
bold claim.
I'm going to go on the record as
whoa.
saying rape is bad.
Whoa.
I know
Let's
that's
not get
fucking
overboard.
controversial. I'm
Let's
getting
not
ready
get
to get
overboard
canceled.
here.
it is if you are a Democrat or Republican, you actually can't credibly make the claim that you think rape is bad. So
Only Siths deal in absolutes, apparently.
I mean,
Yeah.
only
I mean,
if only
cool,
if the
because I
poor
don't
do it.
belong to either of those groups, but
with
Is the poor
conservatives
doing it?
with conservatives, all rape but raping a white man is wrong, and with liberals, all rape that affects somebody you like is wrong. But all the other rape is a-okay. Okay, you have to have a normative statement that you cannot I will say this: it ought to be a communist ethic that you cannot use sexual violence in any circumstance. Sexual violence is a no-go. And I'll say this: I'm also like the man himself. I'm kind of a prude in this. I think BDSM is just a way to launder rape, and that's going to really piss some people off. But I think that's the way people launder rape because you can go just a bit too far under the excuse that you were just exercising your fetish instead of communicating clearly. So I don't buy that bullshit 1 second. I do not buy that bullshit at all. Okay.
That is a pretty spicy take.
That is a pretty spicy take because most people feel like you can't, you can't.
He's filling in all the spice.
Yeah, you can't kink shame. I fucking do kink shame because I think like if I were to walk up and tell you to be like, I like hitting women in the face during sex, you would be like, you're a rapist. But if I said my kink is hitting women in the face during sex, they're like, oh, you're just kinky. That's kind of because people are fucking
and I've
stupid.
been part of those conversations.
They're pretty gross. They're pretty gross
It's-
conversations.
Now,
But that's my point. All I said, the difference, I just add the word kink and suddenly I'm fucking, oh no, I'm unassailable.
I
That's
really want to
liberalism.
go on a tangent right now.
I'm gonna
The need is.
I'm gonna get back to it, right? So we communists
I'll
would
let it
think,
go.
yeah, for right now anyway. We
I gotta listen to the men. Let the men talk.
Thank you.
It's their turn.
It is our turn. Well, if you get it, like if you want it to be turn based, we do by default have to have a turn. Like that's the other thing too. Like libs do this thing where like it's my turn to talk, but then you never get to talk. So really, I'm just telling you to shut the fuck up. But I'm too weak to just say shut the fuck up. You know, I'm not saying that. We can do turn based. We could definitely do it. But like this is where like
while
this is my
we're
field of
doing
expertise.
this, I'm working on a little graphic with a little arrow that says "I'm with Dan."
Definitely. Definitely do that because that'll make me look
Please
good.
do continue.
Just make sure to remind people I have hot sauce in my man purse. Yeah, do that. See, it's the Hillary Clinton joke. Get it?
I don't get it.
You
had
said
hot
the
sauce in her
quiet
purse.
part loud.
Yeah.
He had hot sauce? Where did she have the hot sauce?
She had the hot sauce.
She
in her
had
purse.
one of those. She had one of those little mini bottles of Tabasco.
Yeah.
She had it in her back
And she was
pocket.
like,
The secret.
"Oh, I keep hot sauce in my purse."
To be fair, it was, of course, I am a fan of black people. I keep hot sauce in my purse.
Oh yeah,
I
it was
get it
real
now.
cringe. It was real cringe.
Yeah, it was
See,
like
I didn't even
I
see
get
the fucking
it.
thing. I just read about it, and I was just
I
like,
changed it.
I'm
as
not
bad as you
equipped.
say.
I'm not equipped to make the normative claim, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that is just as, if not more so, racist than if she was just like, "I love N-words."
Mhm. Mhm.
And
'Cause it-
I'm gonna go out on a further limb and say, like, part of the reason, like, I firmly fall into the Q as far as the LGBTQIA plus.
Yeah,
But one of the things that comes back to me as like why I'm super uncomfortable identifying as a woman, as female,
yeah.
that bitch.
It ruins it for
I'm
everyone.
gonna go even further out on this limb that we have all gone further and further out, and I'm gonna break this limb off.
Okay.
I think she's in the right. I
What?
think black people only like hot
Fuck
sauce.
you, I hate you, I'm blocking you.
We got a
No,
spicy episode
no.
here.
It's only hot sauce. That's the only thing
Duel.
that black people needed.
The dual power. Well, okay,
Jank?
hold on.
Jank,
I'm gonna make
I
it
am
worse.
I am throwing my gauntlet down at your fucking feet and challenging you.
Oh God, that was funny.
I'm gonna make it worse then.
Oh,
I
that's
think.
funny?
I
What
think.
organ
I'm
just?
from
What
Jersey,
organ
bitch.
just?
Don't underestimate me.
I think
What?
the
What?
dual power means that you have hot sauce and a 40 of Old English in your purse.
I mean,
No, I'm
What
saying
organ does Hillary produce hot sauce out of?
DUEL. DUEL, not DUAL.
We see her walk in with some cornrows in
Yeah.
in a wave cap.
Wait, Hillary?
listen,
Yeah.
That would be funny.
That would be pretty funny.
there are two ways you cannot be black, and one of them is not voting for Joe Biden. The other one is apparently not liking hot sauce.
Correct. Not having it
They're so perplexed. What
in
is
your
this
purse.
blackness?
No,
What
but
is it?
like,
Okay,
what,
no,
what-
okay, see,
what
I
kind
get
of
it.
desperate pandering? Tabasco?
I
No,
get it.
Crystal.
I got
Come
it.
on.
I got
Come
it.
on.
You're walking around. You're at New York City. You've just been to Chelsea's apartment. You see a homeless man, and he's eating a sandwich he just got out of the trash. And he's like, you know what would make this
Trash.
Yeah, the trash. You know what would make this trash sandwich better is hot sauce, but unfortunately I'm homeless because of generations of wealth inequality and my black skin. And you're like, you're Hillary Clinton, and you're like, my dear man, I've got you. And he's like, you are truly the best white person to ever live.
This is how you
Yeah.
know
Wait.
that she doesn't know any black people whatsoever.
No.
If she had Hennessy in her purse instead,
Alize. Come on.
everybody would have been like, "Yes."
Yes, queen.
Yes, Queen.
Yes,
Like-
queen.
She never asked us. She never asked us.
Okay, so we're gonna get back to it, right?
Well,
We're gonna get
no.
back to business.
One, can I do like one more just like on that particular riff?
Do you have the floor?
Hillary coming. And it's
Gross. Just keep
you've
coming.
got the ew. No, not that kind.
I got your ass. You walked right into that.
I
Walked into it.
I left it there. I
You left it on the
there.
table, and I took
I
it.
regret it. But I cannot
Yeah, you
fault
do.
you for. I cannot fault you for picking up what I was laying down.
I'm
But no
squirting
shit.
from my
So there's-
pussy.
So there is this poor orphan. He's got his bowl of gruel,
Yeah.
and he's looking down on it, and his dying mother is behind him. She's
crying.
she's got consumption.
Yeah, she's got the consumption. Yeah.
She's got
Okay.
consumption. And meanwhile, like the rest of you are waiting to die from typhus.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there
Currently
you
in
are.
death from typhus. Got it.
So no shit, there you are with your fucking gruel.
hmm
And Hillary comes around the corner.
In her white suit that was trying to look like what rapper was she trying to look like? Fuck. She wasn't a rapper. I think she was trying to look like a Suge Knight or some shit. And her like fucking
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's the producer.
she's the
She's
producer.
not even the rap star. She's the producer.
Yeah, she's not even the rapster. That's right.
Like no, like she
Yeah.
doesn't. She knows she doesn't have the talent. She's not the talent.
Right.
She is not the talent, and she knows it, and she walks out there like she fucking owns it already,
Yep.
and then is pissed off when you tell her no.
Yes. She's walking around in that suit, but she also has like a big Italian Don hat on, and she's like twirling a pocket watch, and she's sampling the local gun store and the local like liquor store, and she's like,
I would respect her.
there's like a black
that-
woman running up crying. She's like, Don Hillary, my children. I don't know why she talks like an Eastern European immigrant, but she's like, Don Hillary. Don Hillary, I cannot get no hot sauce for my now she's Latino. Now I cannot get no hot sauce for my children.
for
and
my
she's like,
children.
For my children. And then Hillary just opens up her purse. She snaps her fingers and opens up her purse and just pours a little bit of hot sauce in her
And
hand.
Cholula falls out.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, grazie, Don Hillary. And she's like, de nada. Because again, these were Italians at one point, but I don't know Italian, so now they're
Yes,
Latino.
but she's like,
But the point
but
is
when
also
she
Hillary doesn't
says
know the
it-
difference either.
hold on though. When she says it, like grazie,
Dog
like
Hillary.
Yeah.
she turns,
Grazie,
she grazie,
grazie.
or wait, what is the A in the short A in this region? Ia, grazie,
Grazia.
grazie. No, no, like what's grazia
Like,
if at
Nasty.
Wawa? What is
Killing
grazia at Wawa?
That's probably it. Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah, that's
she's-
Hillary. Yeah,
she says it to the woman. She is turning her head to the left side as she casually drops her right hand,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Because that's where the ring is, right?
right. Obviously, it's on the right hand. Yeah,
Right. It's a right hand ring.
It's the ring.
She's not asking him to kiss Bill's ring.
no,
Nah.
no, she's the boss.
Right. That's what she wants. That's what she wants.
See, we're way funnier
And
than
that's-
MAGA fucks, by the way. I'm gonna point that out.
I mean,
Everybody.
you could set the
is
bar a
funny than-
little higher.
I've been getting
It
getting
doesn't have to
told.
be
True.
that low.
I've spent a
But
lot of
also,
time this
none of
past
this
week
is
getting called a
comedy.
secret
It's
MAGA
just
agent.
fucking fact. It's
I'm
just
way
fucking
funny.
fact.
Yeah, but you gotta understand. I spent a lot of time fighting with libs this week, and they're always like, "You're just a MAGA agent." I'm way funnier than them. Fuck you, you little bird. You
Oh
specky
yeah,
bird.
yeah.
Fuck.
No. Don't tell me I'm MAGA.
I'll
Yeah,
let
those
you know.
those bitches. Yeah.
I'll make this country great the way Stalin would make this country great. We're gonna revolution up this place a little bit, and once you're purged sufficiently, we'll be good. So don't pretend I'm MAGA. Those people put up with you because they're like, I wish these dumb white libs would see what we want. And it's like they do. They're trying to do the same thing, but you're like, they're just not saying the N-word enough. So you're like crying about it, and you're like, it's hate speech for you not to say the N-word to every black person you meet. Whereas the libs are like, we are trying to codify it so that they know at birth that's what we think of them. And that's not
Yeah,
good
those
enough for you
fuckers.
because you're the greediest little pigs on the planet. Whereas me, right? My boys, when the revolution comes, we're gonna be like, good news. It's self-determination. You tell us how you go ahead and negotiate from a position of good faith because we got a lot of shit to divvy up, and we owe you something like 32 trillion. So why don't you start? Why don't you figure it out? We'll give it a moment. We'll put everything on pause, and we'll let you figure out what's gonna happen. But first, I got to do this purge. These libs and conservatives are pissing me off. I'm going to do that. I'm going to busy myself with something to do while you guys figure out like where the battle lines are and the claims are, and then we're going to start a proper negotiation on equal footing. We're not going to be doing this. We're not going to let the generosity of the whites dictate everything. Is what I'm saying. We're going to have some goddamn self-determination in this motherfucker. And that's going to require me taking a lot of libs from their law school fucking careers and shit and dunking them in the toilet. So, like, I want to point out when the liberals are like, "Oh, dear secret MAGA agent," like, I hate them worse. They're not. You notice how, like, I'm not like we got to take the conservatives' job. They won't be there. Okay, we have this thing called the moon, and that's the greatest place for them to live because they don't even believe it's real, so they won't know where the fuck they're at. And
No, no, no.
consequently,
They
there's
believe
also
it's
no air
real
there.
because it's observable.
They
They
don't.
just know that the Earth is flat.
They think it's a projection to keep up the Earth is flat lie, which is fine because when they're breathing that sweet moon air, it won't be for long, and we're done with that shit. Like, that's where the liberals think I'm like a fucking tyrant. No, you'll get to survive. You'll get to live. When my boys roll through, you'll still be alive at the end of it. The conservatives will not be. I make no excuses for the terror because it will be funny. Anywho, are we going back to that original
Yeah,
first
Conservative
device?
ears.
It's so pleasant,
What's that?
sir.
Mm, conservative tears.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yummy.
What did I say that was wrong though? If I'm trying to be a real ass ally, all I need you to give me is permission. Once I have it, I'll go do the thing. I could be the Robespierre of the left, you understand? I don't give a shit at this point. Like, Robespierre doesn't really have any streets named after him either, and that's okay. I'm going to be fine if I don't get a statue in the public square at the end of it all. You just let me do what I need to do, and you figure out how we're going to end this thing in negotiation wise so we can negotiate on a fair footing as equal partners rather than, oh, look at the generosity of Dan Cohen determines it. Well, I'll get it wrong. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do that labor. Counterpoint, I will do all the gross stuff. That's a good deal. That's the best deal you're going to get.
Who are you
Let's
trying to
face it.
convince right now?
I think you know who. I think you know who. Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
The squirting babe herself. Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What a descriptor.
I
Yeah.
don't even want to know. I do not want to know.
You know, when
Why
you're
you
doing
said
live
that.
comedy, when you do real live comedy one day a week for an hour,
I do not want to know.
sometimes not all of the jokes land because you don't prepare for your show at all. So I'm saying you were too busy playing value vintage at your local magic shop to worry about things like writing a joke, setting up a bit, figuring out a
Showing up on time.
showing up on
Anything,
time.
really.
I did fail pretty hard today.
Yeah, we all did. It's all good.
Uh,
Except for,
You made it up
as
with
always,
that. You made it up with that sports joke.
MJP in June.
Oh shit. Okay, so anyway, back to the hard theory, right? So with the subject of sex and relationships, MJP is right. The market invades all of them, right? The market, the line Marx uses is all that is sacred will be rendered profane. The market will supplant all normal human interactions and relationships. It will supplant. It will infest itself in all hierarchies and become the basis of all hierarchies. It will do all of this damage to us. And he was right. He was right. We lived in the grifter world. People take every single interaction they have and run it through a monetary transaction first. They don't have the ability to be self-determinative. And when it comes to their sex lives, the liberals are very good about utilizing the fact that capital is exploitative to now make people even afraid of the notion of dating, without it being seen as some kind of market transaction. It's comical because if you look at the basis for bourgeois marriage as opposed to proletarian marriage, right? The premise of proletarian marriage is more often than not, still on the old romantic notions, which Marx has no qualms with. Marx rather likes that about proletarian marriage. There's a reason he wants to enshrine that over bourgeoisie marriage. He views bourgeoisie marriage with a lot of disdain. Marx does not see anything functionally different in the relationship of bourgeoisie master and his spouse, and notably his spouse, because the predominant form of wealth, at his time it was purely masculine, But in our era, it's decidedly masculine, right? Overwhelmingly so. So the bourgeoisie and his spouse is the relationship, more or less in equivalence to the relationship of the person paying for the prostitute services and the prostitute. Just because she'll live in the house doesn't make her not a hooker. It's easier. It's frankly, it's easier. And if you look at how the bourgeoisie frame marriage a lot of the times, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Right? That's a classic line. You hear that in conservative and liberal households. They have a very negative view on intimacy and relations of all stripes, especially that particular relationship. They view it as a purely business transaction. She don't have to love you. She got to do it if she wants to keep drawing money out of your pocket. That's wrong, right? Again, as communists, we should have an ethics where that is wrong. We're not communists are like, you get into a lot of factionalism here. Anarchists will be a lot more liberal about their interpretations, and I use that term in the sense that they will have a more dramatically left interpretation of this, right, rather than an actual proper liberal determination, politically liberal. But they would argue it doesn't really matter how you arrange yourselves. Everybody should be free to arrange themselves as they choose, which has some, with the way we currently court in our society, has a lot of severe problems. We don't behave in a way that would to do that, but on paper that would be the best possible option. Okay. Marx would have us be more conservative. You're either married or you're not. The perma dating scenario, the polyamory, that kind of stuff, I don't think he would really be on board with, honestly, because I think that to him would violate something fundamental about humanity that is stifled by capitalism, and it cheapens the interaction, according to him. This is him, not me. I don't really care. I'm not a polyamorous person. I don't really care what the fuck you're doing. It's not really my business as long as nobody's getting hurt, which people will be like, that's a bigoted take. You should celebrate it. I don't have to celebrate something I'm not involved in. I have a duty and responsibility to stay out of the way people who aren't acting in a harmful manner. That is how we get along. Just because I wouldn't do it and I don't really approve of it myself, if you're doing it and you're being an otherwise decent person, I have no right to interfere with your life or to treat you poorly as a functional result of it. That's kind of that's kind of really what tolerance boils down to, is I have no right of interference and I have no right of mistreatment on something. Now, if it's something that's harmful, of course, I have full rights to discriminate against harmful things. Suck it, pedophiles. I hate you and I want to hurt you. I have a right to discriminate against them. I retain my right to discriminate against pedophiles, in fact. You can't take that from me.
I'm allowed to punch a Nazi in the face. I just have to deal with the consequences.
You have a moral a priori to do so, according to Trotsky. Marx never had to deal with it.
I just have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, and I think the consequences should be a ticker tape parade, so.
Yeah.
Parades suck. But yeah, so Marx would see these things in a more conservative perspective than our anarchist brethren. But ultimately, what they boil down to is the fact that we need to remove the inherent class distinction created through the lens of gender that puts women in an inherent subordinate role. Now, you can argue that capitalism is eroding at that, but capitalism erodes that in one direction. The way capitalism erodes at that is, their little gender capitalism, right? If you bring in more of these other people who aren't just cis white men into the realm of owning capital, they too can exploit their spouse, which is not a right I need to respect. I don't have to respect that right. Under capitalism, again, as Michael Jordan Peterson said, sex work is inherently exploitative because work is inherently exploitative. And that breeds two predominant forms of communists. There's hardline communists who are hyper-conservatives on this issue, where they would say under communism there will be no such thing as sex work. I personally think that if we are meeting other productive needs, I don't see why there isn't room for that to be the way somebody earns their living, because there are going to be people who are single and would maybe prefer to interact when they would want to interact in that way, in that manner, rather than trying to find a partner. Maybe it's just more convenient than finding a hyper-casual partner, and this is how somebody else makes their money and contributes to society. And people say it's not a contribution. I would argue it is. It may not have the life-saving quality of a doctor, but that's not the barrier to Marxism. I'm sorry, that's something people have to get over too. We're not operating on necessity. That's more of an anarchist thing, that society is purely on necessity. Not all anarchists, but for the most part, anarchists would be more like, yeah, you should have to have sustainable living and on society. communists are hedonists at their default. We don't see a distinction
Oh,
between wants
definitely
and
I am.
needs. Hey, bingo. So we don't see a distinction between wants and needs, right? That's more of a liberal thing, and I mean that in the political sense now. Wants and needs that's a political construction by them in order to deny you something that may allow you your life to flourish. The Marxists would see it as if we can do it, we have a compelling reason to do it, barring something that's morally atrocious, right? And we do have our own set of morals. Again, we don't like rapists, we don't like pedophiles. We're not really a big fan of casual murders. And they'll be like, communists killed so many. Well, number one, with the landlords, they were killing a lot of people already. They were raping a lot of people. It's okay. It frankly is. It does not. Mao's murder of the landlords is something to be celebrated because it liberated China from the threat of the landlord rapist murderer. He is attacking these people. The landlord is attacking these people in like 5 different angles, and he's a threat to their well-being and their ability to function. Mao saw that problem, and with one crazy solution, he fixed it. That's a good thing. I'm sorry, it is. No apologies. So, in that, would there be sex work under communism? It would look different. I don't know how it would look because I'm not an expert in that field. I know that from a very abstract theoretical field. I never participated in any way. I guess you could say as an observer of adult film at some point I have, but that's not real participation. That's consumptive participation. That really doesn't matter. So I don't know how it would look. I don't know how they would arrange themselves to have a more equitable treatment. I know none of these things. That's for those people who would want to have that industry under communism to work out. It is only my responsibility to make sure that it does not become exploitative because I have that responsibility as a communist in every single field to help eliminate exploitation. But since I'm not an expert on it, I shouldn't be a driving force in making decisions for people because I could very easily make wrong decisions that increase exploitation and so on. If that makes sense. For the people who know what they're doing, they should be making sure that field is not exploitative. Since I'm not, all I have to do is step in when I clearly see something is. But otherwise, I should have a more judicious interpretation that allows them to thrive in that way for their work so that they too can thrive as human beings and participate. So I would probably have, I guess what you would argue is a centrist opinion on it. I'm not afraid to tell anybody no, but I have to have a compelling reason to say no. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So, yeah, with the sex work under communism question, the way I would answer it is that since Marx doesn't actually say that's verboten, like he would on private capital ownership, I would interpret it as of course. However, like anything else, society has the right to set the boundaries on that and set to eliminate that exploitation. In fact, it, in my opinion, has a moral a priori to eliminate exploitation. The proletarian class has that moral a priori built into it because we are the exploited class.
What did I walk in on?
Did you not hear any of that?
I got to the
That was for you.
I walked in on the very end part of like you blah blah you,
Being gay with your
working
dad.
class, and I'm like, oh, like Dan just summarized the whole fucking thing for me, and I was out making
worked
chocolate
perfect.
milk.
Oh, awesome.
Well, no, that's
that.
what I came back with. There was a little bit left of coffee in my mug from this morning. So in a recipe, in a chilled pint glass, pour leftovers from morning coffee, squeeze of Hershey syrup.
So can you just re-summarize everything you just said in an entirely new form?
Yeah.
Write as a dissertation and turn it in by...
Well, no, I didn't.
No,
I didn't say
no,
he had
no.
to re-summarize
Juniper
it.
can rewatch. Juniper can rewatch like
Right?
everybody
No,
else.
I was gonna.
We'll
Oh,
just edit it in post. It's fine.
I was just
Only
asking what
person I know
missed.
has to watch the stream she was in.
Wait, what?
The only person I know who's gonna have to watch the stream you were in.
To see an answer to the question you posed. The
You did answer it.
here's the
did
long
answer it.
here's the very
Dude,
long
the
and short of it.
leftovers of the morning coffee, a big squeeze of Hershey syrup, whole milk, organic. Stir vigorously. Dude, it's so good.
The bottom
It's
line.
so good.
The
You
bottom
need
line-
that right now.
the
I'm just
bottom line
saying.
is that in a bourgeoisie relationship, there is no substantive difference between a prostitute and a wife. In a proletarian relationship, there is.
Word.
In the realm of sex work is just work. That's why work's in the name. Does it exist under communism? The answer, in my opinion, is probably society has the dual role of permission, because communists are base hedonists, but also we have a moral a priori to cease exploitation. So the easiest way to organize that is to let people who know what it was like under the bourgeoisie and let them start by setting the terms and the boundaries. That way they can curb their own exploitation, and then we can see if there's any new exploitation arising and society can manage it. Just like it would anything else.
May I ask for like clarification for a sec?
Sure. Like
So
I gave,
like under communism, I just want to make sure that I understand what I'm listening to.
uh-huh.
So you're saying like under communism, there could be some people who'd be like, like, fuck it, I've taken worse. Like, put themselves out there. And it's not looked down upon.
It-
And honest, hardworking people who just occasionally need to scratch an itch.
Well, part
if
of the
they
thing
wanna,
is it would be entirely voluntary.
right.
the idea that Marxism, okay, god damn it. I am gonna end
It's
up watch.
closing time
Somebody
at the
keep track.
bar, but
Somebody keep track.
but
I'm gonna redo the whole thing. I bet on accident.
it's closing time at the bar, but everybody goes into it knowing that that's what it is, and you could do it at 2 p.m.
The anarchists disagree. The anarchists are subsistence, not hedonism. Marxists are hedonists by the very nature. Furthermore, as a
Sounds good to
function of
me.
that hedonism, we believe that human beings ought to be able to thrive. It is presumable that there are people who prefer sex work to any other type of employment. That is how they want to earn their money. Under this system, it's a dubious proposition because of the exploitation inherent. Much like any other fucking job, mind you. People forget that if you're flipping burgers at McDonald's, it may not, in fact, be your life's passion. It may be the only work you can acquire. So when they talk down to these people as if they're the unfucking touchable class, they're really being fucking presumptuous. That doesn't mean that maybe they do enjoy working in fast food or some kind of kitchen equivalent. Maybe they fucking don't, right?
Maybe some people enjoy picking fruit.
Yeah, maybe some people do actually like farming. We can't make that normative claim clearly because of the exploitation inherent in the market, the requirement of exploitation. So, it's presumable that those people exist. For those people who I'm going to presume exist, it would be illogical to ban them from doing something that is not inherently harmful and allowing them to arrange that in a way that does not increase their own exploitation and manages it in a way that is to their suiting and to their thriving as a human being. Okay? That's a big part of Marxism that gets left off the table. Marx is very concerned about human beings being able to thrive in a way that they actually do, their life is meaningful, right? You've heard like we need a thriving wage or whatever. Kind of, like people try to put numbers on it, but numbers are all relative to the market. If everything
Bread
costs
and
a
roses.
penny, if everything costs a penny, a 10-cent a day wage wouldn't pay that bad. You know what I'm saying? It's just not.
It's all relative.
It's all relative because we're all dealing with abstract numbers, and Marx fucking lays out that fact. I don't. Moving on from that, right? That kind of misunderstanding. But so it's presumable those people exist, and society has two a priorities. They have to let people thrive, right? And they have to make sure that exploitation is not increasing. Now, there's the third a priority, of course, nobody's doing anything immoral, right? And by immoral here, I mean like rape, murder, torture, that kind of like slavery, all the really bad shit, the gruesome shit.
I have a serious question though.
Sure.
From the audience here. Like you're saying, like, oh, society has to, ensure that people aren't getting raped and murdered, and society has to,
Yeah.
Says who though? Like what? Based on what?
Being a communist. It's part of our ethics.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, like, that's not how the world works around me right now.
Well, liberals don't have those same a prioris. Liberals have an a priori to protect bourgeois property. Liberals don't have to prevent those things from happening. In fact, history has shown that liberals will increase those things if it has an overall gain to the bourgeoisie. They're very honest
Can I get
people.
a gay priori?
There is a gay priori.
Crimes against people who aren't them aren't a concern of theirs.
Crimes against people that will result in a net increase in bourgeois property are a moral a priori to conduct those crimes against those humans. They have that's
if it'll increase the property value, then you should do it.
Property, if it will increase bourgeois property in some way, in the way you describe it in value, for me, I tend to think of it in cruder in quantity. It doesn't matter what the quantity is, but if it increases bourgeois property, the bourgeoisie has a moral a priori to commit the crime. They have a response.
Fucked up.
It is pretty fucked up, but they are honest about it. They've never lied about that for one fucking second.
Would you agree that in some ways they have maybe obscured it, or if not obscured it, done a little sleight of hand?
I would agree readily.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah. When they require you to pay taxes so they can give their donors tax breaks, they're not really hiding it, but they are obscuring how they're doing it. And Marx and I do not, like, here's another thing. Marx and I don't think taxation is theft. He didn't think it then. I don't think it now. I don't think taxation is inherently theft. I think if you use my tax dollars to run a fucking genocide, you've stolen from me. I think the bourgeoisie, because they want to conduct a genocide and say, I don't know, pick a place, Palestine maybe, right? I think because they want to commit a genocide, I think they're stealing from me to commit their genocide and make me pay for it. But if you were to tell me that I'm paying for roads, I'm paying for hospitals, I'm paying for things that people need. Even if my taxes now are going to build a new hospital in Utah, because the federal government needs a hospital in Utah, and we're under a communist federal government. They need a hospital there. Let's say I travel to Utah and I get hurt. I need that hospital too. And I may never go to Utah in my entire life, but if I do and I get hurt, I too have a compelling need for that hospital. I haven't been stolen from.
Wait, so you're saying you have the basic empathy for other human beings that, like, if you were in their situation?
Yes.
Wow.
Which is another thing. Yeah, right? But that's part of the communist ethic. We have workers who need a hospital. I don't need a better excuse to go pay for that hospital. I will pay my part of that hospital to make sure it gets built. Marx agrees. Now, Marx never wrote about universal health care, but I would find it hard to believe in a society that could produce universal health care, Marx would be opposed.
That sounds like a thing you would oppose.
You think so? I kind of bet Carl wouldn't. And we, unlike his society, have that ability.
You sure?
Yeah, we have the ability. We just don't exercise it.
Every other country has it.
A lot of them do, but a lot of them are also eroding it. And why are they eroding it? Because even though
they a bunch of bitches.
Because universal health care
a bunch of bitches.
Doesn't increase bourgeois property, does it? It takes property away from them. That's a whole sphere of property.
Subcontracting government services.
You look at the liberals NGO. You look at the conservatives just open laundering of taxpayer money to their donor base. Hell, you look at the Democrats doing it and allowing and permitting it to happen. That they're just openly permitting theft for rich people.
Encouraging.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Did I say that?
You did.
Take that out in post.
Give me a Zizek right there.
Oh wait, sorry.
But that's my point. What we never
I can't
talk
sniff
about.
loud enough.
We dance around it. We all know it to be true, but we just don't articulate it, so we don't discuss it. Is that the bourgeoisie have a moral a priori to steal, and anybody who the closer you are to the bourgeoisie, the more of a moral a priori you have. And as a function of that, you idolize people who are just openly human rights violators, right? You look at the banana republics and how they were tortured by U.S. banana companies, rubber producers torturing people all over the world, Coca-Cola torturing people on sugarcane plantations. You look at Nike's running sweatshops right the fuck now. It's literally torturing people. They have a moral a priori to do it because at the end of the day, right, there's nothing irrational about what they're doing. They're not doing it for pleasure. Many of them would tell you with a straight face they think it's really terrible that those kids have to work like that while they fucking make them. While they fucking make them do it, they will tell you that right to your face. And they won't even, I don't even think they're lying. I don't believe what a lot of people believe, that they're just like evil little schemers in the background. I really believe in their heart of hearts they know it's wrong, but they're going to fucking do it because the market demands that they do it so they can increase bourgeois property, so they can increase profit. So it doesn't matter.
Managed to compartmentalize that much.
Yeah, they are just really good at compartmentalizing their two moral a prioris and resolving them in a way that lets them sleep at night. I don't think they're. I really don't. I'm not like a lot of people. I really don't think that their base moral set is any different than mine, honestly, when it comes to liberals. I think when it comes to the market, though, the market, for me, produces a visceral reaction where I want to destroy it by any means necessary. I don't give a shit at this point. Whereas for them,
Why Malcolm X?
Goddamn right.
By any genes necessary.
By any genes necessary. That's not quite what I was saying. But the liberal has a moral a priori to protect
we could
bourgeois.
Make so much merch.
Yes.
Off of the text from just this rant.
Yeah, thank you. The liberal has a moral a priori to steal, to lie, to cheat, and if necessary, to rape and murder, to increase bourgeois property. And they will not violate that moral a priori. You know, when liberals or conservatives talk about their religion, be they atheists or Christians in this country, and it's usually one of those two, they're lying. They don't have any other religion than profit. They believe in profit and the market über alles. That's their God. Their God's first commandment is thou shalt steal. Their second commandment is thou shalt not have any other gods before the market. There will be nothing that gets in the way of profit. They will not allow it. You know, the image of Jimmy Carter sentencing to this in the 1970s was with him with a heavy heart. And he was with a heavy heart. He didn't want to do it because, of course, he had lip service to Yahweh. But at the end of the day, he sure as fuck did it because it would not interrupt profit. And that's his real master. That's his real God. That's the real driving force in his heart of hearts. Ronald Reagan is a gleeful little worshiper of God. And his God is also profit. So when he got to do this to people and got to be racist on top of it because the market allowed it, his morals, while disgusting, are perfectly rational. There's nothing insane or irrational about these people. Because they're all serving their God in the most vicious and vile way they know how. Because their God demands it of them. They have more faith in their heart of hearts than anybody else ever could. But the problem is they just simply believe in a God that cannot continue to exist for humanity to thrive. They cannot. And that is that's why Marx has such a negative take on a lot of religion. It's not really all that negative because when the proletariat turns to Yahweh, when he turns to Buddha, right? He turns to him in a moment of spiritual crisis because there's a real misery afoot. He has a sympathetic to those religions, but Marx and I agree on a lot of stuff. I really like the guy's writing, it turns out. We have no sympathy for this fucking awful religion that has been produced under capitalism to allow it to thrive. Its cultural institutions must be abolished wholly. And without mercy, They have to go. It doesn't matter by how it goes. The how it gets out of there is irrelevant. It has to go. And what has to take its place is one that focuses on humanity. Liberals have co-opted that to what they call secular humanism, but notably in their secular humanism, if you need to commit a genocide in Palestine, you better get the fuck on that. So it's not really secular humanism, is it? Because it permits that. I don't even think it is secular at that point, frankly. I think there's a religious drive to what they're doing, but they have co-opted that terminology for their own ends and declared that that's what secular humanism looks like. It looks like eradicating poor Palestinian children who have nothing to fucking nobody to have anything remotely like that happening to them. All because of their goddamn awful market and their fucking love and worship of profit. Boy, that was a classic Dan rant, huh? 2024, we're going backwards in time now.
Dude, it's hard though.
It is hard. It is hard. It is hard work to fucking deal with this shit. I agree. The fucking moral
And
consequences.
I think we should acknowledge that. It's fucking hard.
It is. It's very difficult. And look what they do with it. You know, what do they do with all that shit, right? They have religious people tell you being gay is great or being gay is not. Being gay is a human condition, no different than being heterosexual, having blue eyes, or whatever. But they have to turn it into something that they can market it on. They have to take it from you to resell it to you. Now, there's a lot of people in this society who know that shit intrinsically, but people, you know, there's another thing. There's a fun grift, right? There's this very fun grift that certain people who have been legitimately victimized like to use, and it's stop using our plight. Well, your plight makes people see it, so I'm sorry, it has to be used, because otherwise people don't see it, and the plight will continue, and it has to die. The plight has to go because you don't deserve it either. You know, you'll find I'm not a person who thinks that victims always make the most rational choices about their victimhood. Because we all have a moral a priori to end the conditions that led them to victimhood. So I'm cold about this shit. Because it's just as vicious and awful as I made it sound. If not more so, I might be underselling the cruelty. Because God knows every time I turn around, I see another new horror that capitalism has manufactured. And go, I didn't think it'd get any worse. And here I stand wrong yet again every single fucking day at this point.
I can see a child laborer.
Oh yeah, they're bringing that back now. The 1-2 punch. We need to market to children to make all this dumb shit just for kids that we don't really care about and make it poor quality. And frankly, dubious health fucking concerns built into the thing. Lead paint in the glasses and whatnot. You'll never know the difference, Dumbo. Drink the lead. But then at the same time, we have to exploit those children and have them hyper-proletarianized and turned into adults very rapidly so we can exploit their labor. They ain't pulling their own goddamn weight. I heard some fucking moron be like, Karl Marx was into child labor. Karl Marx thought that was a fucking abomination. If he was of the right religion to issue fatwas, he would have issued a fucking fatwa that said on sight, on death. We see kids working. Man, hated the idea, hated the very notion of robbing, of taking those children and putting them in there. And it is based entirely on the horrific industrial accidents that would invariably happen in his time. And the good news is those are coming back too, because OSHA's not a thing anymore. It's not like they ever left, but there used to be some kind of mechanism for them only happening once instead of being a routine occurrence of the function of the machine itself. Conservatives despise that. They like it. Again, that is the difference. The liberal knows it's wrong and does it. The conservative knows it's wrong and loves it for it.
Right, like they don't
humanity.
want reports of children getting maimed, so they remove the mechanism that would make them aware of children getting maimed.
They remove the ability to punish them for maiming children. They need to know about it, otherwise.
Oh yeah.
How are they
and
going
the ability to punish, but also like dismantling the reporting mechanism. That seems to be really important.
They need a way to dismantle the reporting mechanism in as much as they need to make sure that the police can't stop them. Once the police can't stop them, they need to know about it because they are satisfied with the end result of harming the children involved. Or the workers. It doesn't have to be kids, it can be workers. They like killing and raping people. That's what a conservative is. It's a rapist. It's a murderer. They're monsters. They've never lied about that. They fucking love it. They come to it. That's the only way they are sexual sadists. Be it genetic or learned, it is fucking irrelevant because that's what they are. A lot of them, they're pigs. They get off on it. They need to know about the harm. The liberals hate the harm and would love to find a magic way to make sure rich people get rich and there's no harm being done. It don't fucking exist. But at the very least, the reason when people are like, I don't know why you guys are so much nicer to libs than conservatives, because at the very least, if they could eliminate the harm from this equation, they would. There's something human in there to dig around and root out. If we had to pull it out of them ourselves, so fucking be it. But there is something there that is still inherently human. In the conservative can only achieve sexual arousal. The conservative can only achieve emotional satisfaction and achieve the religious sense of peace if they know their actions have led to some other human being's harm. In much the same way that the wolf looks at the sheep as dinner. They have to look at your body and how they can harm it so they can gratify themselves. There's nothing human left in there. It's gone. And it's of their own choosing. When they had the choice to decide to walk down this path. They're adults. They're not brainwashed. They can fucking do it or not. They have chosen it. They've made an active decision to be an enemy of humanity. And they need to be treated in all circles of life as such. And the opinions need to be fucking hammered on. If need be, force needs to be applied. It is what it is. They're the ones who are obsessed with the castle doctrine so they can plot out convoluted ways to shoot their ex-wives. You have every right to plot out the same convoluted traps and invoke the castle doctrine. Because their job as a citizen of their society is to cause you harm and misery. For nothing other than the fact that they got to harm and cause you misery. And the liberals notably, even if they know that's true, which many of them are dubious upon it, because how could they not be exactly like me with just quirky opinions, like we should behead the gays, or black people aren't people. They just have quirky little opinions. They can't say it because, again, they are also compelled to cause that harm. They also must cause the harm, but they don't like it. But it's irrelevant that you don't like it. You're doing the harm. It's got to stop. It ends. Those mechanisms, that is why Marx wants those mechanisms destroyed, because even if, again, and I grant it willingly, that there is still something human in there that can be salvaged. In the liberal. But more and more, the liberal is transforming into the conservatives. They're gleefully cheering on, kissing that fucking Keebler Elf's ass and committing a genocide. The quote-unquote best of them will cheer on the genocide and say, but Netanyahu's the one to blame. No, motherfucker. If you're cheering on the genocide, you are responsible. You take ownership of that genocide. You're happy we're doing it. That genocide must stop because those human beings are being taken from the lot of us. The whole group of us will never have experience with those people. That's what you need to understand. They are stealing from you. Those are potential people you can interact with, have a coffee with, have a good conversation with, have a nice time with, work with, achieve something as a collective with, that have been robbed from you. And it's been robbed from them. They'll never get to do that. They'll never get to interact in that sphere of humanity. Those people are gone. And these fuckers just keep going and pushing, and they gleefully do it. They fucking get off on it. They get off and rubbing off in your face that you can't stop them from doing a genocide. Because under their laws, they will be protected in doing the genocide. That is why their law needs to be taken from them by hook or by crook. It does not matter how. It matters that it is gone.
Kind of sounds like you're saying by any means necessary.
Yeah, I like by hook or by crook, though. I like the rhymes.
That is kind of a dope one.
It's a fun one, right? You get a nice little bounce in there in your step. Well, it's 11:42. I think I made up for the fact I was late.
Yeah, a bit of a downer ending, but it is what it is.
Do you want me to go out on a punchier one? Or do we want to
I'm
leave things?
Yeah, do it.
debating.
Do it. Do it.
Okay, I'll give you a little treat then, since y'all been good and listening to me fucking bitch. President Assad, how are you feeling about the American support of Israel in their conflict with Palestine? The problem is I go on the YouTube, okay? I'm trying to watch Pat and Jen videos because I want to see about the neat things Pat and Jen have done in Minecraft. I find out Pat and Jen are divorced, and I find that my problem is real. You know? Do you understand? My problem is real.
Mm.
So Pat and Jen are playing the Minecraft, and I get interrupted by an ad for Mr. Beast. I'm not eligible for these contests. Why do I need to see this advertisement? It's crazy. You know, it's very crazy that I have to watch the Mr. Beast advertisement. I try to win the contest. He says, well, you are Assad, you are killer of Syrians. I see, look what Israel does. All I'm saying. I just wanted to watch Pat and Jen. You're the one who came on the advertisement. And then there are these pills for your penis that come on the advertisement. I don't need those. I fuck. I'm Bashir al-Assad. I fuck like a beast. That's what my name means. The man who fucks like a beast. Bashir al-Assad. That's all it means. I just, that's what I'm saying, though. My problem, I mean, this problem with the Pat and Jen. I can't watch the Pat and Jen Minecraft videos because my problem is real. Every time, my problem is real. You understand? I'm not saying who. I'm not saying who my problem is. I'm not making a claim about any group. I'm just saying that my problem is real. You get it? My problem is real. I have a problem with Israel. You might say that. I don't say any group of people, And then, they show the advertisement for the Sandy Hook. My kids weren't at Sandy Hook. I don't know why I need to see this. I am trying to watch Thread and You Magic the Gathering gameplay because I play a little bit of Magic the Gathering. It's a fun game. And, then, of course, we see about Tucker Carlson comes on. He has a full 2-hour advertisement. Why does he get the full 2-hour advertisement? He's not very interesting. I'm a smart person. I'm so much smarter than him. I just want to watch Pat and Jen. I want to watch Thread and You. I want to watch the games be played. I want to have fun, like any child wants to have fun. And we're all somebody's child, really. That is real. But my problem, the center of all of my problem, if you were to draw a big Venn diagram, start making the circle, and I start listing my problems in them, you're right at the very center. They all touch. The problem is real. You understand? My problem is real.
I think I do.
Yeah, my problem is real. ISRAEL is real. So
I'm very certain that is how that is spelled, and I'm also certain that is not how that is spelled.
my problem is real. ISRAEL is real. I know what I said. Do you know what I said? That's the real question. Do you understand?
Yeah, I believe I do.
I have 99 problems, and all of them is real. I'm like the Jay-Z.
You just made me cackle out loud.
I am the Jay-Z of the Middle East. All my problems is real. You understand? 99 problems, all of them is real. It's not me. I didn't start it. I didn't do anything to that group of people. But they started a problem with me, and now my people have to pay for it. All because of my very real is real problem. You understand? For the record, I'm just quoting him verbatim from a speech from 2016.
Weird that he was so specific with it.
Yeah, he's very specific. He's an interesting guy. If you watch any of his English language videos, he spends half his time bitching about YouTube streamers. I'm not even making that up. Again, I just quoted him. You're like, wow, this is Dan's clearly just quoting references from things he watched today on YouTube to make this up. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm quoting the guy himself. I have his transcript up. I'm literally just reading the speech.
And he went to school here, right?
He was an optometrist.
Surprisingly educated.
Yeah. He was an optometrist in London. Imagine being that kid who's You're like 8, and he's like, "Oh, we're going to get you the glasses. They're going to be very good."
What I'm trying to say is, like, I mean, does anybody knew him back then? Like, I mean, is the accent a put on? Is what I'm asking.
The accent? No, that's how he talks now.
Well, that's how he talks now. But remember, at one point, like Madonna, like,
Oh, put on the fake British accent.
yeah,
Okay, I don't know. I don't have any audio recordings of him prior to like 2016 though. To be fair.
right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, because all I'm saying, like, he was here. You're saying like he was in England.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Did anybody know like Benny back then, or Benji maybe? Did he go by Benji? We'll never
I'm sure
know.
he was I'm sure he was okay, so Bashir
Benny from the block.
al-Assad.
Oh, I thought we were talking about BB.
No, because BB talks like this. You have to talk
Okay.
fatter and with an Israeli accent.
You have to
Oh,
talk
then I got my
fatter.
facts all over. I don't know nothing about MBS. Like, I really don't.
No, I'm talking about Bashar al-Assad.
Oh, asshat.
Azad. Yeah, Assad.
Well, I mean, if you listen to the BBC for your news, which I did once upon a time, they always call him Bashar al-Assad.
So it sounds like Bashar al-Assad.
Yes.
Sweet.
They don't say Assad. They say like Assad, but like the accent, it's fucking hilarious. Okay? It just is.
I just want to point out that Bashar al-Assad is a part of the same anti-communist political party as Saddam Hussein was.
The Bothies?
The Baathists, yeah. The Baathists.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, you know what? That wasn't the motivating force behind why we decided to fuck with them, even if we used that as a excuse later. So,
Yeah.
just saying.
His wife's name is Asma. It's pretty I just know it's like pretty fucked up that guy was an optometrist in London. Like that's the part that always fucking kills me.
Wait, optometrist or ophthalmologist?
Optometrist. He was an eye doctor.
Well,
Which is better,
ophthalmologists are
one or
also
two?
okay.
One or two, and it's just various anti-Semitic things.
What's that?
One or two. It's just which one looks better, one or two?
Yeah. Oh
And it's
yeah.
just repeat like just various anti-Jewish tropes.
Yeah.
Big nose or money hungry? One or two?
It's pretty fucking surreal.
Like that young woman or the old hag or the hare versus the duck, except it's that terrible anti-Semitic cartoon of like the snarling Jew with like the big nose from like the late 20s or whatever. And I'm not quite sure what the flip side of it would be, but I bet you Eli Valley could illustrate the fuck out of that idea.
Yeah. He would do good. But yeah, he's kind of he's a wild guy. He's sat down a couple of times for like NBC interviews, and each time he just goes in these rants where he blames Israel for all of his problems. And like he's pretty poignant too, but then he like bitches about like American like YouTube like a lot.
Like a very strange amount for someone who's running a country. Is that what you're saying?
Boomer's gonna
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah, it's incredibly weird. And like he's also an awkward looking guy. Like I'm just gonna be real. He's not like he looks like an optometrist, so it's even more fucked up when you think about the fact that he's running like a you know, he's running an entire fucking military. I'm gonna say it like that to be as diplomatic to everybody involved. But yeah, his early life is fucking crazy because he's like, yeah, I was just an optometrist. You know, my dad was like the leader. He was the leader of the military of Syria, so he sent me off to go be an optometrist and fuck around in London.
And I did, he says.
Yeah,
Nepo babies.
basically.
I mean, that's not uncommon. Like, I think if you're a big enough person over there and you got like literal suitcases of cash, like that's the thing. Like, you send your kids. It's kind of admirable. You send your kids out in the world ostensibly to get an education, but also like just to see what life is like.
Yeah.
Kind of like Rumspringa, but with Gucci or
A
whatever.
little more anti-Semitic tropes.
Yeah. Not so much tropes. He just like blatantly will just be like, Israel's the cause of all of my problems because of their relationship to the United States. Like, he's very sober about it. He's not. That's why, like, the joke is like he can't criticize Israel, so he keeps making a veiled reference to Israel being the source of his headaches and problems.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very divorced guy energy.
Kind of, yeah. Which is weird because, again, like, he has a wife.
Well, if it wasn't for
she's
that
nice.
bitch.
Not for nothing. Decent looking woman, especially considering you look like Bashar al-Assad. He pulled up. He pulled up is all I'm saying. He didn't pull down. Let me find a photo of the guy. He looks weird. He's tall. He's gangly. He looks like, imagine Michael Scott
No,
with a
yeah.
mustache
No, he's got
and like no neck.
his face. His face reminds me of the
There.
British guy from the Jeffersons.
See, he reminds me of just Michael Scott. He looks like Michael Scott. He looks like Steve Carell if Steve Carell were like stretched out on the rack and had any at all fat in his body sucked out of it.
I'm just saying, like, look up the guy that played the British neighbor in the Jeffersons. I wanna see those guys side by side.
The British neighbor, Franklin Cover or Paul Benedict?
Oh,
Benedict Cumberbatch.
This guy?
no. Here's
This
the
white
derpy
dude?
fucking neighbor.
This is a derpy fucking neighbor. This derp.
That motherfucker. No, they're like something about their heads is the same. I don't know.
Oh, it's
like-
definitely the same long shape. Yeah, but no, hold on. Let me put him up to season 1 Michael Scott. Okay? You tell me. All you need to do is add a shitty little mustache to this. I'm actually thinking Steve Carell is Syrian, to be frank. Like, it's enough. The phrenology vibes are kicking.
The phrenology vibes.
Yeah.
All right, where are their ears? All right, lines up with the eyebrows and the brow.
Like if you take Steve Carell and then on the slider, on the character slider,
Goofy
add
British
a little bit of
neighbors that be out of
Jarhead.
the running.
Yeah.
Just add plus 10 Jarhead points, and you would get Bashir al-Assad.
Yeah. Hey, you got to give him a shitty mustache, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. What Jarhead doesn't have a shitty mustache?
Yeah. Shitty thin guy mustache.
That's the whole point.
It's like you turn on that caveman filter.
I would like to. I'm going to write an Office episode, and the only difference I'll make is the Bashar al-Assad is Michael Scott. That's it.
Wait, it just a whole regular episode, but Bashar al-Assad is in this place of Steve Carell, and nobody remarks upon it.
Nobody.
There's no commentary. He's just there.
Is he called Bashar or is he called Michael still?
Yeah.
No, he's still called Michael.
Yeah, he's still Michael Scott.
Just the actor is
Yeah.
mysteriously replaced.
I would pay money to see Bashir al-Assad in the episode when the warehouse workers unionized were trying when it was like, no, I'm not doing it.
Listen, you cannot unionize because I know this is an Israeli plot against Dunder Mifflin. He has to respond. He has to respond. He has to respond like Bashar al-Assad do. So he just keeps blaming Israel for everything.
I know you no longer want to stack the reams of paper because of Israel.
I know it is Israel that is making you disloyal to your company. I urge you to reconsider the harm you are causing the fellow people of Scranton, PA.
Your fellow people
He seeks
of the
out
Scranton.
he seeks out the Russian lumber company they work with for help.
Not the Russians.
The Russians, no, they're helping. They're
Oh
helping Michael Scott.
no! Oh no!
Oh my God, can you believe the Russians are helping Michael Scott? Crush union workers in America.
It could never happen.
The local seat of the Republican Party is like, do go on. Can we get you more? Can we get you more tax breaks to do this? What about guns, perchance?
He gets mad at Toby,
Yeah. He gets mad
and
at Toby.
Toby meets a bone saw.
To be to be
Oh
to
no,
be fair,
that's
yeah, that's MBS.
wrong dictator. Wrong dictator, but still, that'd be funny as shit.
That skit where he walks in the door and declares bankruptcy loudly.
So I have declared Dunder Mifflin. It's an independent nation.
Bankruptcy.
I declare bankruptcy. Do you understand? I declare bankruptcy brought on about by Israel. Israel has caused Dunder Mifflin to go bankrupt. They are taking our jobs.
No, don't talk to me about it. Talk to Israel.
You blame Israel for it, not me. Don't blame my beautiful girlfriend Jan. It's not her fault. It's Israel's fault. Michael, why do you keep blaming the Jews? I'm not blaming the Jews. The Jewish people are a good people. I am blaming the nation state which portends itself to be representative of the Jews but really just hates Muslims. The anti-Arabist imperial power, Israel. Oh, Michael, I don't know if you can say that because it's 2007. Well, I did. What are they going to do? Are they going to order the U.S. to bomb me? There's a car backfires outside. He's like, it's happening!
They're here.
They're here.
That's just their Pinto. What kind of sniper rifle is Pinto?
I've never heard of the sniper rifle Pinto. Then to White, it's not.
Wait,
a sniper
how did
rifle.
Pintos get involved?
Well, he hears a car backfire, and somebody's like, it's just Meredith's old Pinto. What kind of sniper is this? And Meredith is working for the Israelis. He has her tried and locked in the women's restroom for crimes against Dunder Mifflin on behalf of Israel.
No.
Michael, I don't think. Michael, I don't think you can do that.
No, Meredith can't go out like that.
Well,
Maybe she shivs one of them back, or like gets away because like they corner her in the bathroom and she like smacks them with like the stall door.
Well, no, it's because because Bashir al-Assad, as Michael has heard the Pinto go off. So he thinks, so when he says just Meredith's Pinto, he thinks she's now working for the Israelis, which she's not. But Creed really is working for the Israelis.
But poorly.
Yeah, he's bad at it because he doesn't give a shit.
He's the
But he's
Clouseau
Creed,
of
so he
Israeli
gets by and
operatives.
still gets a paycheck.
Yeah, he's like, what? They paid me money. I've been giving him fake reports this whole time. He's a double agent, but only because he's too lazy to do the intel. I don't know anything about these people. For the longest time, I didn't know Phyllis worked here. I thought she was the cleaning lady and just got tired and sat down. He's like the Israel. Yeah, that's the B plot, right? The A plot is that Michael. Okay, well, I think we got the episode, right? The A plot is that Michael is now trying random Dunder Mifflin employees for crimes against Dunder Mifflin committed in their dualistic allegiance to Israel and the United States against Dunder Mifflin.
Is this next year's Christmas episode?
I think this is what we're doing in June, frankly. Meanwhile,
Christmas in
Creed-
July.
Yeah, we
Creed-
can't wait until damn near 2025 to.
not with a joke this good. Meanwhile, Creed and I'm trying to think of who's who discovers him, though, is the question. Who discovers that Creed is working with Israel? Is it Jim?
Pam and Jim would find out through Pam.
Yeah. And then is the C plot.
Wait,
Dwight,
who's the blonde chick that like kind of hooks up with Dwight?
Angela.
Yeah.
I think Angela finds out. And that like she creates drama with it.
Okay. I can go with that because my C plot is that Dwight spends the entire episode pestering Kelly Kapoor about converting to Islam and trying to get Angela also to convert to Wahhabist Islam to fight the Israelis.
Wait, is he an Alawite?
Yeah, now he's all white. Which Jim and Pam pick up on in their confessionals. Wait, is he now?
I think he chose Alawite because he thought it meant all white.
At that moment. Yeah.
Dun,
Yeah, he's trying to get Angela.
dun, 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 dun.
He spends the whole time trying to convert Angela to Islam and launching a jihad against Israel just to protect Michael Scott's ego. Oh my god. Yeah, it looks like that's a July special, people. That's our 4th of July special. We got there.
All right, well, I gotta get out of here, guys.
Yeah, we're going to
Alright.
end it. We love you all.
Yeah.
Oscar's
Good night,
kill for
America.
being
Don't die.
gay.